Fox is coming out, I think, in a couple days here. It might be in another week, but I think it's in a couple days. But I've already done a video on them, but there are some updates that I was interested in sharing with you guys. One, there was this P5X news info that came out. I don't know if I just missed it when it originally came out, but these are basically going over all character buffs, not in detail. But we could see here that our boy, boom, right here, increased base skill multipliers and some awareness effects. So he is getting buffs. And in addition, I actually found his weapon here on a Korean website. So we're going to kind of go over his weapon, whether or not it's worth it to pull, I guess, versus his 4-star. We'll kind of figure that out. But also, I thought it'd be kind of fun to kind of think what the possible buffs could be, given that they will be both for skills and awareness effects. So first, let's actually just go over the weapons themselves. Let's zoom in here. Hopefully it makes it easier for you to see. So let's just start with the 4-star weapon. Whether or not the name is going to be the name, I don't know what the name is, but basically this is a 5-star or whatever, a max forged 4-star weapon versus a 0 forged 5-star weapon. So we could check out the specific numbers if we want, but really I think this is the most useful screen. So defense is increased by 34.5%. That's a big percent increase. You know, I think that's more than what you're getting from the HP stuff that I've seen, because I believe the HP stuff caps out lower than that on my characters. And whenever a counter attack is triggered, ice damage is increased by 14% for 2 turns. This is basically, it stacks up to 2 times and it tracks it individually. So if you do 1 counter attack one turn, 1 counter attack the next turn, you'll still have 1 fall off. But basically, you can see here, you're getting up to 28% damage, and you're getting a flat 34% damage or defense all the time, and it's pretty reasonable stats. But this is where I think this might be the first where 5-star weapons are really power creeping. I mean, again, I'm told they get even worse, so we'll get into it. So first here, let's take a look. Defense increases by 45%. Keep in mind, this is Forge 0. So this is baseline, you get 1 copy. 45% defense, already, 10.5% defense more than this, so that's huge. Counterattack damage is increased by 30%. This is arguably already right here just a increased version of this, and that this is an increased version of this, because this is 28% and this is a constant 30%. However, this is ice damage, so this will also trigger on normal attacks on your turn. This is specific to counterattacks, but really I think mostly what he's doing is counterattack, so I think it's probably better. But it also has this other mechanic called Guardian Spirit, and basically every time you get a shield, you get Guardian Spirit, and Guardian Spirit gives you 2% counterattack damage for every stack, and when you get 6 stacks, you increase your counterattack damage by an additional 30%, and the effect is permanent for the battle. Now, I don't know if Guardian Spirit only stacks up to 6. I'm kind of assuming it does. If it goes higher than that, that becomes kind of crazy. But this weapon is just like so much better than the 4-star weapon. I don't think you guys should pull for it. I honestly think that this is totally fine, good enough for what it does. But like the whales that have a super version of Fox, this is so much more power out of it. And just for shits, I guess we'll take a look at the 6-star, right? 87% increased defense. Counterattack damage is 57% more. The actual Guardian Spirit mechanic doesn't change, but when you hit the 6 stacks, you get an additional 60%. So it's like 87% defense, 120 basically percent more counterattack damage, and you're getting more counterattack damage per hit. It's kind of actually absurd. It's not the most relevant thing, though. I think this is what it basically, if you are a completely free-to-play spender, you're probably not getting Fox at all, to be completely honest. I think he sounds like he's going to be very good, especially with his buffs. Who knows how good he's going to be. However, there seems to be a consensus that he is not a necessary meta-chasing kind of character, unless you really want to top the whatever leaderboards. You want to do really well in the leaderboards for your guild for like the next couple weeks after he comes out, right? So that might be where you want to get him. But even if you are a free-to-play light spender and you get Fox, this weapon is totally good enough. If you are in the dolphin range, where you are planning on getting every character and occasionally getting a weapon, this is one that to me, it does read more powerful than even like Marion's weapon did. And maybe I'm totally crazy on that, but this just seems like it's such an obvious step up, and it just causes you to do so much damage over time. But again, it is possible, until I get my hands on it, this might fall into the Joker's weapon style, where it's obviously just better, but maybe not enough to justify the resources. But I thought it'd be just kind of fun to just look at them both. Now, let's come over here. This is Pridewind, and they don't have the weapon on here, but what we're going to talk about is what do we think is going to get buffed. I'm kind of interested, because if we take a look here, again, it says base skill multipliers and some awareness effects. So first, let's just take a look at the base skill multipliers. If you need to know what everything does, I'd recommend watching my other video. We're not going to go into super detail on this. So I'm hoping it doesn't just mean this here. I hope base doesn't mean S1. I hope all three of these skills are counted as base skills. So first, Chill Break, I don't even know why it exists. This skill, it seems so bad. If they ever want me to use this skill, the use case of this skill is I desperately need to put freeze on one target. I don't know, freeze is good, but it's not good enough where I would use such a weak attack. So if this skill wants to have any purpose, I think they actually need to buff this up to above Frost Slash. Frost Slash is powerful because it could hit a bunch of people for a heavy amount of damage, or you could use it to hit one target multiple times. So if you're going up against, I don't know, a lot of foes, this should be your go-to AoE. And if you're going up against like, you know, 1, 2, 3 foes, this should be your go-to AoE slash single target damage. But right now, if you're going up to 5 foes, this is better. If you're going 4, 3, 2, 1, this is always better than Chill Break. So this is the first one that I hope that they kind of bump up quite a bit. As for the other multipliers, I actually feel like most of them seem pretty good. I mean, 92% 5 times is huge. Obviously, it basically does double this with how it falls off. It seems like you do, if there's only one target, you're gonna do about 200% damage. So this would be 180%. And 180% is not crazy good. It's good though. But defense might be a harder stat to get really high outside of like specific teams. So maybe if they bump this up as well, that could be good. But honestly, I think Chill Break is the one that's most likely, because I don't see why that skill is good at all. Unless they don't care about raising the floor. They just want to raise the ceiling. So that could be good. It might just like, so I think that this is going to get a buff. I actually think Frost Slash is probably in a relatively good spot. And as for this, it's just going to be some multipliers to give you a little bit of damage, right? Maybe they make his shield a little bit bigger or something like that. So that could be interesting, but I am kind of interested to see what they actually feel like buffing. Now, for the awareness skills, I'm not suspecting that they're going to touch A6. I suspect they're not going to, obviously A2, A4, these are all going to be the same. They might switch A2 and A3. I think that would be pretty interesting. And they switch A4 and A5 like we had at the base of the game. So now more players might be tempted to go for that A2 because you're going to get another really additional powerful effect. But let's just assume that they're not going to change the positioning and they're actually going to make some of these awarenesses stronger. I don't think they're going to touch the base awareness because everyone that gets the character gets that one. I think the first thing they're going to do is buff this A1. So after using his main skill 2 times, you additionally gain one Dragon's Roar, and this counterattack deals 70% damage. I think the most obvious buff would be just make this after using this and then do a period or whatever, or the comma, you know, get rid of the 2 times. Make this happen every time he uses it, because this skill already has a 1-turn cooldown. So you use it on turn 1, then you can't use it on turn 2, and then you use it on turn 3, and then you get this effect. Whereas if they make it so you could use it on turn 1, it'll just make the character feel way, way, way stronger, and it'll actually tempt people to go for that A1, because this A1 reads very weak to me as written. Not weak, but like kind of unexciting and just slow, right? Does anyone want to wait like 3 turns to get their their awareness to actually do something? So I don't think that is unreasonable. I don't think it would make him too powerful, especially considering how weak people consider him. A3, when Fox's HP is not below 35%, increased follow-up damage 70%. I honestly think this seems like it's in a good spot. They could, if they wanted to, they could actually make this higher, which makes it harder to trigger, like 50%, but then increase this by up to 100%. They could say you got to keep them a little more topped off while also giving you more damage. to compensate. When you get up to A3 though, like I feel like the character just feels pretty strong. So I think A1 is definitely where they want to adjust it. As far as the highlight, increase counter damage by 30% for 3 turns. I mean, sure, you know, might as well honestly buff it up to 60%. I don't think that matters at this point. In this, if they take this and they make it like 75%, where because every percent they do here, you're actually getting double because this is 2 hits. So honestly, I think 75% would just feel better because now you're doing 150% damage instead of 140%. Very small little buff for like a super whale. But that is kind of where I think the buffs are likely going to come in. I think especially here, and then I suspect Chill Break, unless they just don't care and Chill Break is just a throwaway skill you never need to use, then I think that they will make Frost Slash better, because this is also going to be getting better if they buff the awareness one. Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. And again, to kind of go over the weapon here, I do think this weapon to me reads kind of absurdly good, but it's hard to know when all is said and done if the damage, if the output you're getting is going to be that much better. I mean, if you go awareness 0 for both of them, it's way better, right? Obviously, like if you're comparing a Forge 0, right, you're getting 7.4% damage, like then it's huge. It's a huge gap, more than 50%. But I do think so I think it's actually going to be a bigger gap than Joker's weapon, but I don't suspect it will be enough where it's like this is a must-have weapon. It doesn't fundamentally change his kit. It just makes him strong. It doesn't even make him like counterattack more. It just makes him deal more damage and deal more and more damage over the course of a slower fight, which is kind of what you would expect from a defense character anyway. But this is probably going to be dolphin/whale specific, and you're probably going to want to save for weapons that actually give you some sort of fundamental change, right? It'll take a good example would be like, I don't know, Haruna spawns with 5 childish stacks or something. You know, like there's a weapon like Mont, right? Mont has it so she doesn't require 12 full stacks in order to get her counterattack. She only needs 8. So then she gets the counterattack like every single turn always, and things like that. Those are the kind of weapons that you're going to want for new characters coming out, where they're going to have like fundamental, they just play way better turn to turn. Like that. But yeah, that is kind of what I was thinking about. If you think I'm wrong about anything, let me know. But with these buffs, which we don't yet know exactly what they are, but knowing Fox is getting buffs, do you think that this is a character you might need to reconsider polling? Or are you going to be following the tier list that puts him at the bottom, tier 5 and tier 4 for general content? I'm kind of curious what you guys think. This to me seems incredibly harsh, but you know what? We'll find out when I get the character myself. Anyway, guys, that's all for this one. Much love per platypus per platypus. I'll see you on the flip-flops. Bye!